favorite sport to watch is football.
49ers.
Get Tampa Bay, man.
A true California guy.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Want to fight about it?
Fight.
Want to fight about it?
Fight fans, man, like, welcome back to another banger. Fight night is less than 2 weeks away. When you guys see this, is going to be a week away till fight night. And as usual, Steven dials up the guys that are in the ring that you guys are going to be watching, that you want to see. And I tell you what, like, you go through and you watch like the fights and you know, you kind of study up on the fighters and stuff. This dude's just kind of like a cool dude, man. Like, he's just someone like you like I'm excited for this interview because I just want to talk to this guy, man.
It's the funny thing about the combat sports community is most of the, you know, the guys or girls or whatever, just the normal person you'd have a beer with running into on a Friday night. It's one of the things I love about some of the younger upcoming fighters. So we get to kind of tell their story, help kind of lay it out there for everyone. Hopefully, you know, every once in a while you're lucky enough to get some superstars as they grow up.
Yeah, I mean,
we found that last week. You know, you seen what Miss Black Widow Borga did 41 seconds.
Oh my God, 41 seconds done, lights out, game over.
Put an additional hole in that poor woman's forehead.
but again, in the fight, it's
Mr. Angelcor is looking to do that in you know, I think today's 14 days when the airs. This will be like just inside of two weeks. So I'm sure he's ready to go. Let's get him on here, brother.
Let's do it, man. You talk about the superstars. This guy's already got a superstar personality. He's definitely climbing the ladder and, you know, trying to get to that belt. So let's see. Let's meet this guy. Let's see who he is. Steve already mentioned it. It's Drew Angelcor. Oh, man. I'm excited about this one. What is up, Drew?
Yo,
how are you
what's
doing?
Going on, guys?
From California, right? You're. I mean, yes. I know you're in camp, but you're still in California, yeah?
The king of California. That's right.
The king of California. Yes, I love it. Yes, the king, the California king. No. King of California.
I'm in Barstow, California. I'm right in the middle of Las Vegas and Los Angeles. I'm 2 hours.
Barstow, baby.
Yeah, buddy. It's on my shorts.
Why is every time I hear Barstow, I think of freaking Face and the Furious?
That's exactly why I said it, man.
I don't even know if that's Barstow, California he's talking about, because there's like Barstow, Texas, I think.
Right. I think he's talking about the racetrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's whatever. We talked about this just a few minutes ago. You're in camp right now. You got about a week, another hard week at camp, and then, you know, you're kind of just maintaining and waiting to knock somebody's head off.
Correct. Yeah, I'm 12 days out as of today. You know, it's Monday. I'm in my last week of hard work, meaning hard. I got some sparring lined up this week. You know, one more trip to Vegas, because I go to Vegas about twice a week when I'm in camp, and then you know, pad work, and I got like another grueling session on the assault bike coming up, and then you know, I got like one more physical workout as far as like push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, but by next week I'll be tapering off and just kind of going through the motions, and then it's just getting ready for that violent dance.
What's like the worst part? What's the worst part of your work of camp that you really hate? Like you mentioned the assault bike. Oh my God, the assault bikes have.
Easily the hardest part of camp and being a fighter is not getting to eat what I want. It's not getting to eat my cookies, man. I hate having to dial in and be disciplined for the few weeks that I have to be, you know. And I say that because anybody who knows me knows I train year round. I'm always in shape. Me and my coach joke that I have to cut weight, but the truth is, man, I'm already like 8 pounds off today. I can make weight tomorrow, you know. But as far as being in camp, not, you know, I love to eat, man. So not getting to snack on my what do you call them? My bakery sweets. Like I'm a
Right.
cookie monster. Yeah, that's my thing.
Is that what it is? Just the cookies? I was gonna ask, like, what's the
Chocolate chip
big
cookies,
miss?
man, from the bakery. Brookies, things like that, man. I eat candy. I'm just like, I'm a junk food. I have a 6-pack year round, but I love sweets, man.
I have a 6-pack year round too, but it's usually beer.
Physically, I love the work, man. I love running. I love sparring. I love lifting. Like I love the fight life. I really do. Like I mean, if
But
you
I mean,
follow
you
me on
have to love
social
it to do it, right? I mean, you're stepping in the ring literally, and in your case, with nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just mano a mano, and let's go at it. I mean, talk about UFC 300 that just happened. We see the Holloway, calling him out, giving the last 10 seconds, like let's just bang it out, which is like one of the great moments in fight history as a fighter. I know you respect that, and you kind of take it a step further, like let's just take the gloves off and we're going for it.
Yeah, man. That's what I love about, I came from boxing. I've been boxing for 17 years, but I love the bare knuckle side because it's like modern day gladiators. Back in the day, they got in the Coliseum and they just fucking, everyone gathered around to watch them go to the death. And I feel like bare knuckle boxing is that. It's the modern day like gladiators, all fighting, boxing, MMA, it's all combat is combat, and I respect it all. But when you talk about bare knuckle, like you got to be a bit, crazy, you have that dog in you, and like there's no faking it. You can't hide behind the gloves. That pretty Philly shell isn't gonna work. So it's like you either got it or you don't, and that's what I love about it.
Well, like the thing is, you see people's faces after fights, right? And in boxing and stuff like that, some people look out, look all right. MMA, you can walk out the ring looking all right. At BKFC, you're coming off with some knots. I mean, you're coming out with something. I mean, you probably might have a little cut. You got some things swollen up. You guys are like, you're not coming out just the way you went in.
Hell no. If you saw my first fight with Timmy Mason, I won by unanimous decision, right? We got fight of the night. I broke 4 fingers. I don't know if you can tell on the camera like that. See that finger? It's all crooked. That's how it looks for life. This finger, same thing. Like I broke 4 fingers in that fight. My face, I looked like the Elephant Man, and I won by unanimous decision. And so, even in the other fights, I'm cut and stitched up. And my last fight was the only fight I didn't take any damage. I got rid of him in 69 seconds, thank God. So that's the only one I walked away from scratch free.
Well, you are technically undefeated in
Correct.
the BKFC. You've never lost in the squared circle. And look to go keep at it. Did you have any say in this? Let me rephrase that. Is this a fight that you wanted? I mean, some of the guys, they don't necessarily get the fights that they want as you're trying to, earn your shot, earn your way to your shot. But is this a fight that you wanted? Like, you happy? You good with this one?
No, I mean, I'm happy I'm fighting, and especially because it's the California debut and I get to fight in front of my people for the first time.
That's right. Yeah.
But if you follow me, you know that I from the minute I won my last fight in the ring, if you go back and watch, I call out Bobby Taylor, and him and I got on podcast together. Respect amongst warriors. We've mutually agreed, and everybody, including myself and him, thought that it would be him and I at Knucklemania, and for whatever reason, it didn't happen. They gave me another name, and then I signed that contract, and then a couple weeks ago, he pulled out, and then they gave me this guy I got now, Ruben War. So it's not the fight I wanted, which was Bobby Taylor, but I'm glad I got the guy I have now, because the other guy would have been some debuter, and this dude came off of a first-round knockout victory. So, he's 1-0, feeling himself. He's confident, which is what I want. I want somebody who can at least say, that they've been there and they won, and they're not just coming to lay over, because I don't want that. I'm a warrior, man. I want to fight dogs. That's why I called out Bobby Taylor, who's ranked ahead of me.
And I mean, I guess you're right. Your opponent is technically undefeated in the ring and in the squared circle as well, at 1-0. But Steven, when you booked Drew here, like, what were the thoughts? Like, man, I just got Drew Angelcor on the show. Why did you want him on here? And I know you were excited. You hit me up the day that you got it.
I mean, I love all the athletes. First off, like it's one of these things. Like I like to, as much as I love combat sports, MMA, boxing, bare knuckle. I love that everyone to be able to tell their story. And I love it when you guys get put on a big card and be able to kind of show out. You got a shot here for yourself here, Andrew, with Knucklemania coming up. How big is it to be on a platform like that?
Oh man, it's huge. I last year I was supposed to get on the last Knucklemania, but the ball was dropped and I didn't. So it's good that I get at, it's like the Super Bowl of bare knuckle, and it's in California. And like I said, this is 2 hours. LA is 2 hours from me, so I've already sold plenty of tickets. And you'll hear once they announce me, you're gonna be like, damn. I always say Barstow stand up, and you're gonna definitely know Barstow was in the house when I step in the ring. And so, man, what better California debut? Like, what better Knucklemania experience than in front of my people? Like, that's badass. That's a double win. My wife will get to see me fight for the first time. My mom is gonna get to see me fight for the first time, and then of course all my my friends and family.
All right, way early prediction. Are you going platinum Mike Perry on this one?
Oh yeah, man. I'm excited to finally fight under him. That's I like to think of myself as the lightweight Mike, because he's so dumb he's dangerous. And that's how I think of myself, man. I can take a hit. I mean, my coach and everyone who loves me would like to see me move and use the defense and the skills I have. But if you've ever seen me fight, I don't have a problem sitting there and banging it out. And that's what you see with Mike. And I like I said, I see a lot of similarities in him and I. I'm tough. I'm a dog, and I will walk you down if need be. And then this is the third time out of my fight. This is my fifth fight. This is the third time I'm fighting under Lorenzo Hunt. So that's pretty badass, because before I was even fighting for the BKFC, I was a fan of his. So that's exciting.
You mentioned your wife. You mentioned your kids. Let's talk about family a little bit.
Yeah.
You said this is the first time your wife is going to get to see you fight. What is her relationship with you and fighting, and how does that whole thing come together?
So
because it's hard on the families. It's hard on the
sure.
families with their schedule.
She loves fighting. Like we just watched UFC 300 together. We always watch. We don't miss any fights, boxing or MMA. We watch the fights. She loves to watch fights. She's a fight fan. Of course, when they have fight parties here in town, when I fight, wherever I go, and she gets nervous, hands sweat. She's of course sick to her stomach. So she said, she's like, oh my God, she's gonna be with all, her best friend and all my other coaches and their families. Like, they're all gonna be in one section. So she's not gonna be alone. But I can only imagine she'll be very nauseous. But she's supposed to. She loves me, and anyone who knows my wife knows she's everything I'm not. She is very like soft and loving and kind. She's non-confrontational. She doesn't even like when people raise their voices. So like, people that it's funny. She'll watch fights, but golly, she does not want anything. She won't stir the pot. So like, just the fact that I'm getting in a fist fight, she's like, fucking
So with the kids, I mean, they're looking up to dad's a fighter and stuff like that. But, mama usually has like the final say. Like, are the kids going to get to step in the ring if they want to one day?
So that's the thing. I'm actually, I'm a co-owner of a gym out here in town, and I'm the boxing coach at my gym. I teach adult and kids boxing, and my oldest daughter's 10 and she's in the class. My son is 7. He's in my class. And then my youngest is 4. She'll be in there one day. But here's the thing, man. I make them go because, one, dad's the coach. Like, you get free coaching, like you get free class.
You get free dad time. Like,
yeah, but I absolutely firmly believe that all children should know how to defend themselves. I mean, all people should know how to defend themselves, but children need to know how to defend themselves. And I would much rather my kids have those tools and not need to use them than need to use them and not have them. And also, I will not. My kids don't even have tablets, because I'm not. No, man, you better go outside and play. Fucking fall in some dirt, climb a tree, play some basketball, play sports. This generation sucks. So I make my kids go because they got to work hard. But the funny thing is that my oldest daughter just recently started getting into pageants, and then she did her first pageant last month and won the Miss Barstow Supreme, and then did another one last weekend in Anaheim and won that. So like, she's like this fucking undefeated pageant queen, cheerleader. She does competitive cheerleading and she knows how to box. And she doesn't like boxing, but I forced her to do it, and she's
All
good
right.
at it. She's been doing it for
You
like
can't
7
damage the
years.
goods, Dad. You can't damage the goods. Come on.
Yeah. Well, boxing was even like her skill, her talent for the talent portion of the pageant. And she won overall on the talent portion because of the boxing. Like they see this pretty girl in a dress, and then at the talent portion, she puts on her little pink shorts and her pink gloves. And we got up there and did pads, and everyone was blown away. So
You got to break the stereotype. Women can fight
yeah.
too. We see it. We see it every BKFC. We see that women can fight too.
Beauty and the Beast. And then my son, he loves soccer. He played soccer last year and excelled greatly, and that's his favorite sport. So I'm gonna let him play soccer again this year. And to answer the question, will I let him step in the ring? Like if my son says he wants to compete, like in the amateurs, of course I'd back him
I know
up.
you would. What I'm wondering is if she's gonna let that happen.
I mean, she understands like it's important, and if that's something he wants to do, we would want him to do it. But I'm not gonna force it on him. But they will always, as long as they live in my roof, they're always gonna go to class just because they need to stay in shape, they need to stay active, and you need to know how to fight.
Yeah, as a former BJJ instructor, I did the same thing. When they were young, look, these are the basics. This is what this will what keep people away from you, and it'll take one fight, and then people won't mess with you anymore. Like that's really the point.
It builds confidence and instills discipline, and it's just there's so many benefits to martial arts, whether it's jiu-jitsu or wrestling or boxing or anything. It just they need to know to go there, and especially kids, man, you need to learn how to take instructions from the instructor, and just,
that's true.
Too many benefits, man. Too many benefits.
Steven, what do we got for Drew today?
I mean, we got a bunch of stuff. I mean, like obviously, was Holloway Gagey the craziest knockout of the last 5 years?
My shit, dude. Like me and my wife watching it, and I fucking like my fucking voice cracked. I mean, I put some on Instagram. I was like screaming in the camera, like, oh my god.
And I'll tell you what makes it better.
Tripping. My neighbors are probably going, what the fuck? Like that was the dopest like fight like I've ever seen. The last 10 seconds where him to say let's bang it out when he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He could have coasted. He won the fight already. So that's why I'm like, man, I salute it. And my coach texted me immediately and said, if that doesn't pump you up for your fight, I don't know what does. That epitomizes like everything I want to be when it comes to fighting.
I want to say this. That fight absolutely should get the credit it deserves. If you're Kayla Harrison, don't you feel like someone just pissed on your parade? Because she absolutely mauled Holly Holmes.
I'm telling you, there were some great fights. The undercard, the prelims, and undercards were absolutely fantastic.
From start to finish.
That was it was supposed to be a big night because it was 300, and it really was. Like it lived up to everything it was supposed to be, I think.
And then some.
We had the Contender Series fights this past Friday. Mike Richmond getting back on the winning side of things. As I was sitting there saying as we came on, our previous guest over the last few weeks, Jessica Borga, had a nice 41-second KO victory. What do you what most surprised you about any of the BKFC fights if you happen to catch them this weekend?
Yeah, I watched him. I try not to ever miss a fight. My boy Mike Richmond, I fought under him on. I think I saw him and Hunt live. I was on that card, as a matter of fact. That or Doolittle. I think him and Doolittle. I was under the card, so I met him, and it's kind of cool because I watched all these guys before I fought for the BKFC, and I was like fans of them, and now I'm friends of them, and I got a lot of their personal numbers, and I get to text them, hey, good job, and they respond. So that's kind of badass. So I was rooting for Mike. I was glad he came back because that whole 10-month retirement was whack. I didn't want to see him step away. So I'm glad he came back and proved that he is who he says he is. As far as that card, I'm trying to think who else was there. I mean, I always pay attention to anybody else at 155 just to see if there's any potential competition. And I didn't see anything that impressed me.
Mundell is not too excited about his division, other than Perry, and he still thinks Perry, we know what Mundell thinks of Perry, but at least he respects him as the next man up. How do you feel about your side?
Yeah, there's a few. It's funny because I'm pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I'm cordial. You know, I met a lot of these guys. Me and Bryce Henry have fought on the same card a few times in Florida and Louisiana. We're on the same management team. So, you know, I got a lot of respect for him, and, you know, it's a friend of mine. And I mean, if there's a title involved, of course I'd fight him. He would be a difficult fight just because he's 6'4". And then other than that, you know, I already said, you know, I want Bobby Taylor. He's strong, but I'm going to retire his old slow ass. Tony Soto is like 6-0, and I guess he's ranked number 1. You know, so I feel like eventually we'll cross paths. You know, and then James Lilly, again, that's a good friend of mine that we message and respect each other. He would be a good fight. Just, you know, I think honestly he's probably the biggest threat in the division. He's overseas, but you know, I think that would be a fun fight. Him and I have already agreed it'd be fun to shed some blood together. Other than that, you know, I mean, the guy that, I mean, if we're talking stateside or overseas, there's a lot of overseas guys I'm not too familiar with.
Sure.
But stateside, you know, in my division, like I said, those guys that I just named, I think those are the top 5.
What's like your, I guess your legacy fight? If you could pick one of these stars that have been coming over to BKFC, you know, that's not Mike Richmond, that's not, you know, the Mike Perry's of the world. Who would you like to get your hands on to just be in there with?
Well, those guys are all the guys that are coming over are big old dudes. Like I'm only 155, bro. So like those guys are 175 and stuff. There hasn't been anybody that like came over at 155 that, you know, would be a legacy. The fight that I owe the people that everybody wanted is the Bobby Taylor fight. I called them out, and I mean, I can see why, you know, they want 2 buff white guys to beat the shit out of each other.
So no interest in a guy like Eddie Alvarez or Jeremy Stevens.
I mean, but I mean, those guys fight 65, 75. If he wants to drop down to 55, of course that would be fun. You know, I've fantasized about like the Gaethjes and everybody, like those guys that would come over after, you know, just because the dogs that they are, that, you know, are, you know, but I mean, we're just talking fantasy fights now, but if somebody like Gaethje or Dillashaw or any of those like fucking brawlers from the UFC want to come over,
Dillashaw now that comes out of that Uriah Faber camp that runs California.
My thing is this, man, like whoever, I'm like, what do you call it, a homegrown BKFC fighter. So to me, I'm creating my name through the company, like through this organization. And I plan on wiping out everybody that's in my way now. And then if those big names want to come over, if, you know, Alvarez wants to come down, if Chad Mendez wants to come out of retirement, if any of these guys want to claim, you know, that they're that guy in the bare knuckle world at 55, then they have to like prove it to me. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel I'm doing right now. I'm putting myself in that position, fight, you know, one fight at a time. I will continue to get better each fight. You know, my last fight I got done in 69 seconds, round 1. You know, let's get done a little sooner this time. And then eventually I'll be undeniable. And then they're gonna be like, yo, yeah, did you hear so-and-so's coming from the, you know, from UFC over to BKFC? Oh, you better fight Angelcor then if he's really that guy. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want the people to demand, because if you watch me fight, you know, I will back up.
Speaking of you,
what got you into boxing, man?
Getting beat up. So, yeah, man. I always tell a story. You know, I grew up, you know, in the, you know, I guess the rougher neighborhoods, and always getting picked on, and I was like a real runt by stature, and so, you know, and I was always getting, you know, picked on and beat up, and I was always out in the streets, you know, playing basketball, you know, playing, you know, manhunt, you know, tag, and just, you know, committing, you know, knucklehead, you know, activities, and you know, I was just getting picked on a lot, and like I said, I was physically a small guy, and so I was like 16. I was at the community center, the rec center, playing basketball, and I got into another altercation. I was getting bullied and punked again, and I knew they had like a heavy bag in the racquetball room in the back, and I don't know what I thought I was gonna like teach myself, but I asked the lady if I can get the keys to that room, because I was gonna go back there and like hit the bag and, I don't know, teach myself how to fight somehow. And so the lady goes, "Oh, you got to be a part of the boxing class to go back there." And I was like, "What boxing class?" You know, and she gave me a flyer, and it was like Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. So I show up, and, you know, I met Manny Ramos, who's my first coach at 16. And, you know, I remember him pointing to these 2 guys that were sparring, and he goes, "Hey, you know, 6 months from now, you'll be giving these guys a run for their money." And I was terrified. I was like, "No, the hell I won't." Like, you know, like I can't fight, you know? And And sure enough, man, I just showed up and I fell in love, and then I started like weight training, and it just became a lifestyle. And then by the time so when I was 17, I had my first fight at the Army base out here, and I was 17 and I fought like a 20-year-old soldier named Scott Sullivan. And I'll never forget his name. And I broke his nose and knocked him out in the second round. And I was like, oh my, I'd never even been in a ring before because we don't have a ring out here in Barstow. We just trained in a racquetball room and then in my coach's backyard when the gym shut down. And anyways, I stepped inside of a boxing ring for the first time in my first fight, and I won by second round TKO, and I fell in love. I was like, oh man. And then, I got my USA passbook, and I got like, 25 amateur fights. And then I was set to go pro years ago, but, I got detoured. Those who know my story know I got distracted and, ended up, instead of going pro, I ended up going to jail for, living a double life. Anyways, I'm getting way off subject now, but
no, I mean, this is what the people want to hear. I mean, that's the point of the show, is to get to know the real you, right? So, I mean, Max said it today, as a matter of fact. You got to, in an interview he was doing, and Max Holloway, he said, the pain is part of it. People don't understand. They always want to see the fighter side of it. They want to see the big hype that goes out front. He said, but we're people. The pain is a part of it.
Yeah, man.
And so
that's 100% a fact. I was definitely forged by the pain. And so, like I said, I found boxing initially as a self-defense, mechanism, because I was getting beat up a lot. And then I fell in love with the sport, the life, the fitness. I got a gym membership, and so I started getting bigger. I started fighting. I was winning some fights and getting confident. And then I linked up with, my boy Sugar Shane Mosley Jr., who's I'm still in camp with now. I'm actually friends with now. Like,
I love Sugar Shane. You used to watch that video all the time.
Yeah. So, like I said, in 2013, I was 23, and then I was getting ready to go pro with me and Shane Jr. We're going to make our debut together. But I was out here, I was, the truth is I was, popping pills and drinking and just, doing too much, living two lives. During the day I was Barstow's boxer and I was, disciplined and all that, or so it seemed. And then when people weren't watching, I was popping pills and drinking and robbing people. And I got caught in 2013 and ended up doing 6 months for a robbery and got a couple felonies and got out, had a kid, ended up in rehab, ended up back in jail, ended up, just like from 2013 to 2017, man, it was like a revolving door of misery, all self-inflicted. And then in 2017, by the grace of God, I got sober, November 14th, 2017. And then, I turned my life around. And then, a couple of years into being sober, I decided to go back to school, get my credentials to be a personal trainer, and then ended up being a boxing coach here in town part-time. And then I was coaching people, and then I was taking them to gyms to spar, like my clients. And then I would get in there and spar too and kind of lead by example. I want to see if I still got it. And then, I was beating everybody up, and they were like, Coach, man, like, you're over here doing the work. Why don't you fight again? And I had this so I never got to go pro. And then I had this this what if cloud hovering over me. Like, damn, I never got to go. All those years I put in as an amateur and all the fights. And I had the dream, man. I was like destined. I was on the front page of the paper out here. I was the man. So I thought. And then, I ended up linking up with a guy who was like, hey, I'll get you pro if you really want to do it. And so I was like, all right. He goes, well, let's get your amateur license reinstated and get you a couple fights to dust the cobwebs off. Mm-hmm. And I ended up fighting like 3 times in 3 months and knocked everybody out. Like I fought 2 guys in one night, knocked them both out down in Mexico, and fought another guy and knocked him out. And I even did a street beast fight as a joke, and I knocked that guy out in the first round. And so I'm like getting all these wins. I'm like, well, I guess I still got it. Like let's go pro. And so I went pro in 2022, and I won by a 3rd round TKO. And I was like, oh man, it's awesome. Like a dream come true. I got to fulfill what I said I was going to do starting at, 16, 17. And then as soon as it started, it came to an end because the coach that got me pro, I had a fallout with him. And then I'm like, man, I'm 32 at the time, 31. And I'm like, damn it, man. Like I'm old for boxing as a debuter. So like promoters weren't going to give me any attention. I couldn't get fights. And then somebody I knew me on social or on Facebook had already been asking me like, hey, you'd be good for bare knuckle, like you should do it. And I was like, I had told my wife I wanted to do one as like a bucket list thing. And so it started as a joke. That's what's crazy. Obviously, look where I'm at. It wasn't a joke. So the guy hits me up and goes and saw that I went pro and knocked him out. And he's like, hey, you've been doing good. Like, you got the look, you got the, like, let's do bare knuckle. And I was like, don't you got to do trials? Like, I've watched bare knuckle. I'm a fan of bare knuckle. So I know there's like steps. He said, well, if you sign with me and this and that. So in March of 2022, I made my boxing pro debut. And then in April of 2022, I'm fucking flying to Montana to fight at BKFC 24 against Timmy Mason, right? And if you saw that fight, boom, 5 seconds in round one, I'm on my ass.
That was quick.
I'm like, what the hell happened, man? How did I get here? And so I didn't have any like prior. I mean, I had plenty of bare knuckle experience in the bars and in the streets getting beat up, but yeah, I didn't like my hands weren't conditioned. Like I said, I broke 4 fingers in that fight. I got knocked down in 5 seconds of round 1. Get up, knock him down in round 2. We both went down in round 5, and like it was just a bloodbath, a war, and it was the wildest introduction to bare knuckle. I got fight of the night, and I won, and it's been fun since then, man. That was almost 2 years ago. And that's what makes this cool. This is April 27th. I fight again. April 30th was that one. So this is going to be almost 2 years exactly that I made my bare knuckle debut.
And it's a journey. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's important to share like the whole journey because it lets people know, people that are maybe in that, negative part of their journey right now. Hey, look, you can pull yourself out of it. Oh, yeah. Drew did it and he's on top. You don't give up. You can get there too. That's kind of what I take from it. I just appreciate you sharing it so that anybody can take whatever they get from it.
I have always been very transparent. I mean, on any interview I've done with no matter who's with, I always make that like they ask like, well, what's your message? And I always make it exactly that, like that. I try to be relatable. Because people think, oh, you're a professional boxer, a bare knuckle guy. On that stage, you must be, Mr. Discipline, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Got it all together. Because I know when I was younger, I thought all these athletes were like, gods. And so I'm over here like, hell no, man. Like, what a jackass I've been and how many mistakes I've made. But that's why now I believe it's working out the way it is. Because like I told you, if I would have made it, if I would have went pro in 2013 when I was only 23, back then, it was all about me. It was a vain pursuit. What can I get? I wanted the whole world to kiss my ass and look at me. Now, it's like I'm out here representing the underdogs. Like, hey, man, I don't care if you've been locked up, locked out, locked down. So have I. And if you're willing to, trust God and clean house and do the work to get it right, it's possible. And so I just want to be relatable and, just have fun doing it,
You got to be willing to learn from it, man. Like, any mistake you don't learn from, et cetera, et cetera. And there's 100 cliches out there, but I mean, you're living proof that they're there for a reason. I mean, that's awesome. Congratulations. And, best of luck as you continue, just improving and pushing forward from that situation.
We got one last one before we, we put a bow on this one. You said you're a family man. The family's all coming out to the fight and been able to see the fight. So answer me this, right? Who's the worry wart and who's the rabid fan in your family?
The one who, well, like I said, my wife for sure. So I mean, and my mom, of course, gonna be nervous. Whose mom isn't gonna be nervous, right? So they'll definitely be holding on to each other, But other than that, man, I got like, my cousin's a former Marine and, like he's all gung ho and he ain't tripping. And I don't have like a big family and, my dad's in Wisconsin, so he's not going to see it. He's way more laid back and chill. So he's just kind of like, all right, man, let's go.
What about the kids?
Oh, so like I said, my 10-year-old, she's a little diva, a little pageant girl. She hates
That's right.
Yeah. But so she's like, she says she wants to go, but I don't think she will because she doesn't like blood. It's scary. And then my 4-year-old, she just wants to, play with her Barbies. She doesn't give a shit. And then my son thinks it's the coolest, and so he's excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my son, I'm not going to take him though, just because I don't want him in that environment. And I want my wife to watch the fight. I don't want her to be babysitting the kids. So my kids won't be at this one. My mom and my wife will, and then plenty of my friends and family, the coaches and their family, and my gym family, my Victory Fitness family.
We like to do a little thing here I call Fox's Fast Five. I'm going to ask you 5 questions, 5 random questions. Shoot from the hip. You're going to give me the answers, and then we're going to let you get on with your day. Question number 1. Once you get that belt and you can hold it up and say, I did it, I earned this, this is mine, what are you going to do after that?
Successfully defended a few times. I mean, I wouldn't be able to retire without defending it, right? So definitely defend it. I mean, if you're talking about immediately after, definitely go to Corky's Bakery and give me a big old chocolate chip cookie. That's immediately what I'm doing.
Well, that was my next question, is what you're going to do immediately after this fight. So we'll move on to the next
I'm going to Corky's Bakery.
That's right. Who in your family could whoop your ass?
Who can whoop my ass?
Yeah,
man. You
got a Marine who's a cousin. You got, your dad's probably,
forget that guy, man. Nick, if you see this interview, you ain't doing shit, bro. So who can whoop my ass? My wife, man. I wouldn't mess with her.
Yeah, that's the right answer. That's the right answer.
No, that's the smart answer.
She's loving.
That's
she's
the right
loving,
answer. She's smart answer.
She's not a punk.
You got 3 kids. Is there going to be a 4th one?
Oh no, man! After my last one, I cut it off.
I just got it done too. That's how you do. Besides the cookies, what is like the go-to cheat food?
Man, well, food, pizza. Man, I love pizza. Definitely pizza. And then I gotta get the Reese's, man. I throw some Reese's cups in the freezer and then eat them. That's it.
What's the when you get the big check? What are you buying? What's the big buy?
Oh man, I mean, the intelligent answer is I'm paying off my credit card debt.
No, give me the intelligent answer. Give me what you're actually gonna buy.
And so me and my wife just celebrated our last anniversary with a dream trip. I've always wanted to go to New York, and we loved it. It was everything I wanted. So I want to pay for the next trip already. I want to go back. So I'm going to
New York's the spot, huh?
Yeah, New York's the spot. We're going to New York.
Get yourself a slice up there.
Oh yeah.
Last question: who's your favorite kid? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I can say my wife's favorite kid is me. Well, at least I'm her biggest baby. I'm probably her least favorite kid, actually.
What we like to do here, Steve, with his big brain, he came up with the concept of letting the guests finish off their own interview. It's worked so far. We love doing it. You can talk about your sponsors. You can tell us a bedtime story. You can tell us about your favorite pizza and where to get it. Whatever you want to do, man. This is your time. This is your spot. It's the end of your interview. This is the guest spotlight.
Well, the first things first, Barstow Stand Up, man. I love my city. I appreciate everybody here that backs me up. All of my sponsors, everybody, that takes care of me and helps me get to this point. Shout out to GWA, Guerrilla Warfare, Slaughterhouse Management, my management team. I appreciate everybody that supports me and backs me up. I appreciate the BKFC for the platform. I appreciate you guys and everybody else that gives me a mic to share my message. And to everybody out there that's down and out, man, it gets better. You just gotta be willing to work for it. So I appreciate everybody that supports me. And April 27th, 12 days from now, tune in and watch me catch a body. I am the king of California, and I will prove it. Watch.
BKFC rides into California. Man, I'm excited to see it in California. So many have been in the Sunshine State. We're going to the other side. West Coast is the best coast. That's where I'm from, baby. And BKFC is coming in. Steve, you shake your head out there. You Philly boy up there. It's too damn cold up there.
Philly against the world, buddy. Philly against the world.
You got anything for Drew on our way out, Steven?
What sport do you like to consume that is not combat sports? If you're not watching boxing or MMA, What are you consuming that isn't combat sports related?
Well, the only other sport I watch is football. But before I boxed, my sport that I was in love with was basketball. Like I said, I grew up in the streets playing basketball. But I haven't played in so many years. Like I'm not good anymore. But my favorite sport to play was basketball. My favorite sport to watch is football.
49ers.
Get Tampa Bay, man.
A true California guy.
On, bro. Come on. Yeah. People always wonder how that happened. I'm from California, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. It's been my
That's a family guy, right? That's probably your dad or something like that.
That's actually, that's the story behind
that's
that.
it.
My dad got me on them. Yep.
Yeah. What do you think of Baker?
I mean, he did all right. He did all right.
Hopefully, the job done.
He came
back.
Well,
he's not Brady, but
that's
right.
I was gonna say
he's not Brady, but nobody is. So I'm hoping next year he'll find a better rhythm and do something for us.
April 27th, it's Knucklemania. It's in California. I love it. Rise up, Barstow. Look, stand up, get on your feet, represent, clap it up for your boy, Drew Angelcor. Thank you for joining us. Best of luck in your fight. We really appreciate you taking a few minutes with us. Appreciate your family for allowing that to happen. So thank the wife and the kids for us. And hopefully we'll have you back. Hopefully you want to come back and tell us, how you won this fight.
Yeah, we could definitely do a victory recap soon.
I love it.
28th.
April 28th. I'm going to book it, Steven. Book it. Let's go. Thanks for watching.
Another special segment called the Winner's Circle.
I love it. We should. It's done. It's in. Let's make it happen.
Let me be your first guest.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Let's do it. April 27th, Knucklemania, BKFC. Thanks for watching, everybody. That Sports Podcast Network. For Drew, for Steven, I am Chris Fox. We will see you guys next week at 9 o'clock. You know where to find us right here. You want to fight about it? This is a place to do it. We'll see you, everybody. Take care.
Let's go.